Yasodanandana Vrajachandaranjana Yasodanandana Vrajachandaranjana Jamunatiranachari Jamunatiranachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrata Kacharya Ashto Tarata Shishimat Abhay Charan Arvindam Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Kori Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai Iskan BBT Sangstapa Kacharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Sikaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shama Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Shri Vrindam Dham Ki Jai Shri Maya Purnavadi Dham Ki Jai Ganga Maya Jamuna Maya Ki Jai Shrimati Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Shrimati Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Harinam Sankirtan Yagna Ki Jai Srila Prabhupada's Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Samveda Bhaktivinda Ki Jai All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter number 9, The Passing Away of Bhima, text number 33. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Tribhuvana Kamanam Tamala Varnam. Tribhuvana Kamanam Tamala Varnam. Ravi Kara Gordhavara Ambhadam Dadane. Ravi Koravara Ambhadam Dadane. Vapu Alakka Kalavrita Nanabjam. Apur Alakka Kalavrita Nanabjam. Vijaya Sakhe Ratirastu Me Navatya. Tribhuvana Kamanam Tamalavarnam. Ravikara Godavada Ambhadam Dadane. Vapur Alakka Kalavrita Nabjam. Vijaya Sakhe Ratirastu Me Navatya. Anyone else? Ramanam Dalavana. Anyone else? Ladies? Tribhuvana, three statuses of planetary systems. Amanam, the most desirable. Kamalavarnam, bluish like the tamal tree. Ravikara, sun rays. Aura, golden color. Parambaram, glittering dress. Dhadane, one who wears. Vapu, body. Alaka kola avritaha, covered with paintings of sandalwood pulp. Anana abjam, face like a lotus. Vijay Sake, unto the friend of Arjun. Ratyastu, my attention be reposed upon him. May, my. Anavadya, without desire for fruit of results. Translation. Shri Krishna is the ultimate friend of Arjun. He has appeared on this earth in his transcendental body, which resembles the bluish color of the tamal tree. His body attracts everyone in the three planetary systems, upper, middle, and lower. May his glittering yellow dress and his lotus face, covered with the paintings of sandalwood pulp, be the object of my attraction, and may I not desire fruit of results. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. When Sri Krishna, by his own internal pleasure, appears on earth, he does so by the agency of his internal potency. The attractive features of his transcendental body are desired in all the three worlds, namely the upper, middle, and lower planetary systems. Nowhere in the universe are there such beautiful bodily features as those of Lord Krishna. Therefore, this transcendental body has nothing to do with anything materially created. Arjuna is described here as the conqueror, and Krishna is described as his intimate friend. Bhima, on his bed of arrows, after the battle of Kurukshetra, is remembering the particular dress of Lord Krishna, which he put as the driver of Arjuna's chariot, while fighting was going on between Arjuna and Bhima. Bhima's attraction was drawn by the glittering dress of Krishna, and indirectly he admired his so-called enemy Arjuna for possessing the Lord as his friend. Arjuna was always a conqueror because the Lord was his friend. Bhima takes this opportunity to address the Lord as Vijay Sake, friend of Arjuna, because the Lord is pleased when he is addressed conjointly with his devotees, who are related with him in different transcendental humors. While Krishna was the charioteer of Arjuna, sun rays glittered on the dress of the Lord, and the beautiful hue created by the reflection of such rays was never forgotten by Bhishma Dev. As a great fighter, he was relishing the relation of Krishna in the chivalrous humor. Transcendental relation with the Lord is any one of the different rasas, humors, is relishable by the respective devotees in the highest ecstasy. Less intelligent mundaners who want to make a show of being transcendentally related with the Lord artificially jump at once to the relation of conjugal love, imitating the damsels of Brajadam. Such a cheap relation with the Lord exhibits only the base mentality of the mundaner, because one who has relished conjugal humor with the Lord cannot be attracted to worldly conjugal rust, which is condemned even by mundane ethics. The eternal relationship of a particular soul with the Lord is evolved. A genuine relationship, a genuine relation of the living entity with the Supreme Lord can take any form out of the five principal rasas, and it does not make any difference in transcendental degree to the genuine devotee. Bhishma Dev is a concrete example of this, and it should be carefully observed how the great general is transcendentally related with the Lord. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Chalakaya Chakshurhinalitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Gadim Yat Kripa Taraham Bande Shri Gurun Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. So this part of the Bhagavatam is after the battle of Kurukshetra, Krishna, along with the Pandavas, they went to meet Bhishma Dev. Bhishma Dev was lying on a bed of arrows from many days. The battle had been over, but still he was lying there. And the Lord, knowing Bhishma Dev's intention, which was that he wanted to see Lord Krishna before he left the world, Bhishma Dev had a benediction from his father that he could leave this world according to his desire. Generally, as a conditioned soul, we don't have a choice when we leave this world. That's under the direction of the material nature. When the body no longer functions and the situation becomes intolerable for the living entity, then he leaves. It's like he's forced out by the material nature from a particular body. But Bhishma Dev had a benediction that according to his will, he could leave the material body. And even though he had been shot with so many arrows, still he was maintaining his life force within the body. So Krishna, along with the other Pandavas, they went to meet Lord Bhishma. Bhishma is one of the Mahajans. The 12 Mahajans are there, and he's one of those 12 Mahajans. So he's very knowledgeable, and he has established a particular relationship with Krishna. And this is all described in the Mahabharata. In any event, they went there. And at that time, Yudhishthira, he was feeling very despondent. He was feeling very depressed because he was thinking that on his behalf, for his sake, to become the emperor. At that time, there was one government under the auspices of the one emperor, and that was being unfairly usurped from the Pandavas. Dhritarashtra was not to be emperor because he was blind. Bhagavad Gita describes as that he was both spiritually and materially blind. And he thought that he would take the empire from the Pandavas, whose father had died when they were young. And he, because of his attachment to his sons, he would give over that empire to his son. His son should rule instead of the Pandavas. This was the intention of Dhritarashtra. So many things happened. So many attempts were made on the life of the Pandavas. But in every instance, they were saved by the mercy of Krishna. And it came to a head. Krishna made an attempt to settle the matter in an amicable way. He came and proposed to Dhritarashtra that you give there's 5 brothers, they're Kshatriyas, they must have some place to rule over. So you give them 5 villages, right? And they'll be satisfied with that. But Duryodhana was so cunning and antagonistic towards the Pandavas that he said, not as much land that will fit on the head of a pin will we give to the Pandavas. Even Vidura tried to make a settlement with, give good advice to Dhritarashtra. Vidura, the half-brother of Dhritarashtra, he's also one of the Mahajans. Actually, Vidura was Yamaraj, but having been cursed by Mandak Muni, he took birth as a Sudra. Although he's in a very elevated position as Yamaraj, who judged the sinful and punished the sinful. Such a responsible position. But yet, he had to face the curse for a little discrepancy in his duty. So Srila Prabhupada says that if you've been given some responsibility by Krishna, then you have to oversee that responsibility in a very careful manner. And the bigger the responsibility, the bigger the punishment. Yamaraj may have had a little discrepancy, but he was cursed to take birth and live as a Sudra for 100 years. But still, he never minded that. He took that curse as an opportunity. Things happen to us in our lives, but we can take them as a negative way, or we can take it in a positive way. And Vidura took it in a positive way. He saw it as an opportunity to go and preach the message of the Lord in the material world. And he did. Plus, he had the association of the Supreme Lord Krishna. So he was advising Dhritarashtra. He said, stop listening to your son. You know, these Pandavas, they're also your relations, and they're rightfully meant to be the king. You should ignore this Duryodhana. So Duryodhana, hearing that, he became very angry, and he insulted Vidura. He insulted Vidura, and Vidura left that place. Taking it as the mercy of the Lord, he went on pilgrimage and visited various holy places. And he had the opportunity to meet Lord Krishna. And later on, he heard Srimad Bhagavatam from Maitreya, which was arranged by Uddhava, the devotee of Krishna. So after the Kurukshetra, as I mentioned, Yudhisthira was feeling very depressed because so many men were killed, and he felt it was on his fault. Well, Krishna could understand this, and one of the reasons for going to meet Bhishma was to also have Bhishma give proper instruction to Yudhisthira. And when they first came on the site uh, where Bhishma was lying, Bhishma immediately said, "Don't think that this battle and that so many persons were killed was your fault." Bhishma told to Yudhisthira, he said that it's the Kala Chakra, it's the arrangement of time. So don't consider that. And Bhishma gave so many good instructions. And while he was there lying on the bed of arrows, he was appreciating the beauty of Krishna. So Krishna is not part of this material world. And when he comes down to the world, it's by his own choice. It's by his causeless mercy. When a living entity comes to the material world, a conditioned soul, it's not by his choice. He's forced by the Daiva Prakriti, by the material energy, to come to this world and accept a particular material body and a particular family according to the arrangement of the material nature. But Krishna is not like that. Krishna comes to this material world by his own sweet will, for his own purposes, as he mentions in the Bhagavad Gita, to protect the devotees, to annihilate the miscreants. He comes to the material world. But the conditioned souls, they may foolishly think that the Lord is like them, and he's also forced to enter into the material world. But that's not the case. Just like sometimes the king may go to the prison, Prabhupada says. And because the king is in the prison, some of the prisoners may think, oh, you see, the king is just like us. He's in the prison. But there's a big difference. They're forced to be in the prison. They don't have a choice. By their activities, the criminals are in the prison. But the king, he's on a tour to see what is happening in the prison. He's not forced to come there. He's there by his own will, and he can leave at any time. He's not controlled by the guards. In the same way, some foolish living entities in the material world conclude that Krishna's pastimes were like any other conditioned soul's pastimes, and that maybe due to meditation or some other process, he became self-realized. He became Bhagavan. Right? This is their conclusion, coming from a poor fund of knowledge. What is the actual fact? The actual fact is that Krishna is not like the conditioned souls. He comes specifically to protect the devotees and to annihilate the miscreants. And the battle of Kurukshetra was to establish the righteous Pandavas to the throne so that the administration would be properly managed by devotees. So when Krishna comes, some people can understand his position and some don't. When Krishna entered into the arena, the wrestling arena of Kamsa, in the assembly, there were different people saw him in different ways. It's not that everyone recognized that he was the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They had different ideas. So the purpose of this human form of life is to understand Krishna, to understand the transcendental nature of Krishna and Krishna's activities. Like Krishna mentions in the Bhagavad Gita, Janma karma chame divyam evam yo vidi tattvataha. One who can understand the transcendental nature of my birth and activities doesn't have to take birth again in this material world, but he attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna. So this is the process of devotional service. To understand how Krishna is transcendental, how Krishna's activities are transcendental, how Krishna's birth is transcendental. And Bhishma Dev, while he was lying there on the bed of arrows, he was appreciating the transcendental beauty of Krishna. There's nothing as attractive in this world as the bodily features of Krishna. But we can understand that Krishna is from the transcendental world. He's coming from the spiritual world. In this material world, anything that's attractive, it only stays attractive for some time. Prabhupada gives the example. If you take a nice, beautiful rose, in the beginning, it's very attractive. And it's so nice. Put it in water and try to preserve it. But in time, it loses its beauty. It becomes dried up and no more attractive. This is the nature of the material world. The bodies in the material world, they're affected by the time factor. And the proof of Krishna's existence is there that we see due to this time factor. He's everywhere. Krishna says, time I am. So we see the influence of time on our own bodies, on buildings, on a car, everywhere we see the time factor acting. And that's Krishna. That's Krishna in the material world, how he acts. But we should know that Krishna, he is time. He's the master of time. And time doesn't act on him. So when he was in the battle of Kurukshetra, he had already been on the planet for 125 years. And he had not only sons, but he had grandsons. Krishna had 16,108 wives. And each wife had 10 sons. And each one of those 10 sons were married, and they also had 10 sons. So just think how big his family was. Nowadays in Kali Yuga, if you can keep one wife, very good. And that's not an easy thing. So the materialists, they cannot adjust this, Krishna's opulences. And so they try to explain it away as it's just a story, it's mythology, it's just a story that's made up so that we'll live an ethical life, but there's no truth to it. But we don't say like that. We reject that. We say that Krishna's activities were historical. They were there. You can even now go to the Kurukshetra and see it exists. There's a station, Kurukshetra. It exists. You can go there. And if you go to Kurukshetra, how many people have been to Kurukshetra? Just a few. Okay. So that place is still there where Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita on Ekadasi day. And if you look at the lay of the land, it's very flat. Very flat. Okay? And there's big open fields. So if you were having a battle, it's a good place to have a battle. Yeah. Strategically, there's no hills for the enemy to hide behind. It's like it's an even plain for both the armies. So it's a fact. It's there, historical. Kurukshetra. Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita at Kurukshetra. Now the devotees are making a temple. The government had arranged some land, and they're making a temple there in Kurukshetra. So we're interested in Kurukshetra because Krishna was there. We're interested in Kurukshetra because he spoke the Bhagavad Gita there. And simply by trying to understand the instructions of Krishna, by understanding the beautiful form of Krishna, then we can elevate our position. Our position now is that we're thinking somehow or another I can become happy in this material world. I'll work hard, I'll earn money, and I'll become happy. But that's not what happens, right? You work hard, you earn money, and you suffer. Because the nature of this material world is dukkhalayam and ashashvat. It's filled with anxieties and difficulties, right? Uh, you can get a cold like I got, and trying to give a class when you got a cold, it's not an easy thing. So there's always something. There's always some problem. If it's not this, it's that, or he said this, or she did that, and therefore I'm in anxiety. Right? That's the nature of the material. So this is not our actual place. We're meant to be blissful. We're meant to be happy. We're meant to be unendingly excited about uh, Krishna's transcendental form and the relationship with Krishna. Just like Bhima, it's not static. That relationship can come in many different forms. His relationship with Krishna was one of a chivalry. You know, he had this Kshatriya mood. Krishna was saying, "I won't fight," and Bhishma was thinking, "Okay, I'll see." Right? That's a relationship that they have. And Krishna, but who can force Krishna to do anything? Nobody can force Krishna, right? But to satisfy his devotee, he can even break his own promise. He said, "I won't fight," but our Bhishma made the situation in such a way, Krishna, out of his attachment for his devotee, he was forced. That was, I understood that you previously were studying the prayers of Queen Kunti. So Kunti had a relationship with Krishna. She was Krishna's aunt. Krishna was touching her feet. That's the etiquette, you know. Nowadays, there's not much etiquette, but in those days, you meet your aunt, you meet your grandfather, you touch their feet, right? They do that nowadays? Not so much. How you doing? How you doing, Grandpa? But previously, there was a different move. So Krishna was touching Kunti's feet. But she knew very well who Krishna was because she was a devotee of Krishna. And she was explaining in those verses. And her relationship, she was even, her relationship wasn't that like the inhabitants of Braj, but she was very much awed and amazed at the relationship that the devotees in Braj had with Krishna. She remembering Yashoda, and Krishna had been naughty, had broke the butter pots, and Mother Yashoda was running after Krishna with a stick, right, to beat him. And he was very afraid of that stick, very afraid of that Mother Yashoda. But she realized he's so afraid that I better throw this stick away, otherwise he may become too afraid, and that's not good. So here, Kunti is seeing that he's even death personified is afraid of him. The sun is doing its duty of traversing across the universe out of fear of Krishna. Right? But yet he's afraid of Mother Yashoda's stick. That was very bewildering to her, you know, knowing Krishna's position as the all-pervasive, the all-powerful, who is within everything and outside everything. Namaste Purasham Tvadyam Ishvaram Bhakrite Param Alakshang Sarvabhutanam Antirbhahirvast. He's everywhere. But still, she's thinking, how wonderful it is. And his relationship with the gopis, the other inhabitants of Braj. So Bhishma, he's having this wonderful relationship with Krishna out of chivalry, and thinking how attractive Krishna was riding the chariot of Arjuna. Even though he's the Supreme Lord, he's taken a subservient position to his devotee. The Lord can do this. The Lord, he's ready to do this. He's glorified by the Brahmins with the Vedic mantras. They're chanting the Vedic mantras, starting with Om. But he's not so much pleased by the chanting of the Brahmins of the Vedic mantras as he is when he's chastised by his. Nobody can chastise Krishna. But yet, in the loving relationship with his devotees, they sometimes they they fight, and Krishna is chastised by them. So many things. There's a story in the Nectar of Devotion. Prabhupada told that story. Once, when the Chaitanya Charitamrita was published, the devotees were reading, very eagerly reading. The new one book after another was coming. Uh, that time it was many volumes. I think it was 16 volumes or something, Chaitanya Charitamrita. Now they compressed it to 9. But inside there's a humorous story of how Lord Nityananda and Jai Advaita Acharya are taking prasadam in his house. And Nityananda was saying, after he got the plate, this huge plate of prasadam in front of me, and he said, Ade, I've been fasting for 3 days. Today I thought I'd break my fast, but there's not enough food here to fill half my belly. And Advaita Acharya said, I know what you are. You're nothing but a rejected Paramahamsa. Now eat and be quiet. So like that, the devotees were appreciating the humor of Chaitanya. And Srila Prabhupada said, yes, there's humor in the spiritual world. And he began to tell the story. He was riding in a car and telling this story, and his eyes opened very wide as he was explaining. He became very animated, explaining the story that Krishna was standing there with all the gopis. And the one old lady walked by, and Krishna said to that old lady, "You're so ugly, you should marry a monkey." And that old lady said, she was also a devotee, she said, "My dear Lord, I am your devotee, and you are in my heart. No one else is in my heart but you, and I'll only marry you." And then the gopis began to laugh, and the cowherd boys laughed, and the gopis were slapping their legs. Yes, yes, you should marry him. So Prabhupada was saying that you just see, by the laughing of the gopis, Krishna was defeated. Now, who can understand these transcendental relationships? Even Kunti, Bhima, they're having difficulty understanding these very topmost relationships. But as Prabhupada mentions in the purport, they take it very cheaply. The so-called reciters of Srimad Bhagavatam, they want to jump. Without understanding the greatness of Krishna, they want to jump to the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. Prabhupada encouraged us to go step by step to try to understand Krishna's greatness. And then you can understand Krishna's pastimes. Otherwise, you'll mistake it. Right? These are mundane people that are reciting Srimad Bhagavatam. They've not become purified. That's why Bhima is claiming that I want to be attracted to you, but not by, I want to become free from all kinds of fruitive desire for fruitive gain or fruitive results. The Lord's devotee is praying like that. But these so-called reciters, they're reciting Srimad Bhagavatam specifically for obtaining some fruitive result. They're doing some fundraising or something, collecting money. Prabhupada talks about one, he was personally there in Calcutta. One of these Bhagavad Saptaha reciters was there, and he spoke for 2 hours. And afterwards, he came to someone, and he said, my throat is very dry from speaking for so long. Can you give me one beedi? So here he is, speaking for 2 hours on Bhagavatam and smoking beedi. Right? Not enough control in his habits to avoid smoking bidis. This is so unfortunate. That's why people misunderstand who is Krishna. What is the glories of Krishna? They mistake it, right? So Srila Prabhupada has so kindly taken the effort and taken the time to give us the Srimad Bhagavatam in its purports, so that we can actually understand. Everything is there to understand about Krishna. All the knowledge required to perfect our devotional service is contained right there in Srimad Bhagavatam. But he had to really labor for this. It wasn't easy. Srila Prabhupada, although he had his rooms in Vrindavan, in Radha Damodar temple, and it only cost him like 5 rupees a month, right? He was paying to the Goswamis. He had 2 rooms and a veranda, and he was perfectly situated. From his kitchen window, he could see the samadhi of Srila Rupa Goswami. So he was very happy there. No, but he left it. Why? To give us a Srimad Bhagavatam. He was living in Chandichok. How many have been to Chandichok? Crowded place, right? Well, he was living in one center there in what's called Chippiwada. In one temple he was living. And there he was getting his Bhagavatam printed. So he was translating, give that to the printer. And in those days, they had what's called a treadle press. You know, you put one paper and the machine comes down, and then you take that paper out, put another paper in before the machine comes down. It's called a treadle press. And the typesetting was done by hand. You take one lead A, and then B, and then C, and you make a line, then you make a page, and then you print one copy. It's called a proof. And then that proof was given to Srila Prabhupada, and he would read through it and correct the mistakes, give it back, and the printer. So he had to do all that work, and it would required him to stay in Delhi. So he was living there in Chippiwada, and the name Chippiwada, Chippy comes, it's a local, colloquial expression, local expression for chapna. Chapna is a Hindi word to print. So chapna, chippy, and wada means place. So the place where they do printing, Chippiwada. And so he spent a lot of time there, and Brahmananda told me, Brahmananda Prabhu explained that actually he wrote this first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam in Chippiwada. Because he was there, he was writing, he was checking the proofs, he was purchasing paper, giving it to the printer. He was working hard. No support, no money. So why he took the pain, why he took the effort, so that we can take advantage of understanding about Krishna. What is the situation? So that we can develop our individual relationship with Krishna. It's there. Krishna consciousness doesn't come from some external place to us. It's there within the heart. We have a natural affinity for Krishna. We each have our own individual loving relationship with Krishna. It's all, everyone's relationship is different. Like Bhishma's relationship is different. Kunti's relationship is different, right? But it's covered. It's lying dormant. We are busy with so many other relationships in this material world, right? Devotional service means to bring out that relationship. Krishna is known as Rasa Raj. He likes to enjoy these different rasas. And every individual living entity has its unique relationship with Krishna. And he wants to experience that, right? Because he's Anandanmoya Brihasat. Only we're not cooperating. We're busy with something else, right? So many things are important for us. You know, like when it snows, It never snows here. It gets cold, but it doesn't snow. It snows in Philadelphia, right? So if you go to Shimla, you can see snow. But there's millions and millions of little snowflakes falling down. And if you catch one snowflake on a black piece of paper, you can see the shape. It's very unique, symmetrical shape of the snowflake, right? And there's millions of snowflakes, and each and every snowflake is different. You'll never Krishna's creation, right? And we're like those snowflakes. Right? We have this unique, loving relationship with Krishna. It's unique, right? But it's undeveloped. It's lying dormant. We're ignoring that relationship with Krishna. So this Srimad Bhagavatam, especially this first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, is there to create a revolution in the lives of the conditioned souls. And what is that revolution? That revolution is to reestablish our lost relationship with Krishna. And that begins simply by chanting Krishna's holy name. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna. This is what we are looking for. And Krishna rewards everyone according to their desire to know him. Right? All of them, as they surrender unto my, reward them accordingly. So Srila Prabhupada has given us a very wonderful opportunity to establish our relationship with Krishna, to actually become blissful and ecstatic in that relationship. That line, the line that we have is very, very powerful, very, very potent. You got to understand that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's uh, movement simply became an excuse for begging until Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Bhaktivinoda Thakur understood that there's something very, very powerful here, something very, very special in these literatures of the Goswamis, right? At that time, he couldn't even find a copy of the Chaitanya Charitamrita. He really had to search. Everything was covered over. And he revived it. Not only he revived it, but he sent it to the Western world, realizing that this is the thing that human society is looking for and human society needs. And he encouraged his son, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who started the Gaudiya Math and initiated Srila Prabhupada in the science of bhakti. Of course, Srila Prabhupada was Krishna conscious from his childhood. He said that he and his sister used to go to the roof and fly kites, right? So they were praying to Krishna, oh, please let my kite, Krishna, let my kite go up. Krishna. So there never was a time when Srila Prabhupada wasn't Krishna conscious. Encouraged by his father and solidified by his guru, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So coming to America in a very humble position, right? Didn't know anyone, not much money, right? He only had 40 rupees. Even today, you can't do anything with rupees in America. You can say, I got a lakh of rupees in America. They'll say, so what? You got nothing here. Right? Right? Prabhupada went with 40 rupees. And you know, Mrs. Sumati Maraji, she was very careful to find, because Prabhupada, she would tried to discourage Prabhupada from going to America because he was old, but he was intense. So she said, okay, let me find out the proper captain. You know, sailors are not the most scrupulous people. And so therefore she wanted to find a captain that was very, very, pious, pious. And she found this Captain Pandey. He was so pious that he even traveled with his wife in the ship. Very pious man. And he took nice care of Srila Prabhupada on the Jaladuta. So Brahmananda tells this story. Brahmananda Prabhu would talk about Srila Prabhupada for hours and hours. And sometimes I would go to Vrindavan and he would just speak 2 hours, 3 hours. So one of the stories he told me. Is it okay? Should I tell this story? Yeah, tell you. He was explaining how Prabhupada went on the Jaladuta. And so when he became a devotee, he's from a Jewish background. And the Jewish people, at a certain time, the young men, they have what's called a bar mitzvah. And when they have a bar mitzvah, their family gives them some wealth, some money or stocks or things like that. It's like they're coming of age. So Brahmananda had gone to India before he met Srila Prabhupada. He worked on the ship as in the kitchen, serving the customers on the ship. So he got to India. He looked for a guru. Couldn't really find any guru. He came back to New York, and then he found Srila Prabhupada. So he knew the process that you have to surrender to Guru. So one day he came to Prabhupada on 26 Second Avenue, and he gave all his money, whatever he had, he gave it to Srila Prabhupada. Everything, whatever he had. And he was thinking that now Srila Prabhupada's going to reciprocate with him and give those 3 volumes of the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Right? So Prabhupada accepted the money, and Ramananda was looking at the books and looking at Prabhupada. Prabhupada was just like that. And then he blurted out, Prabhupada, what about the books? And at that time they called him Swamiji. Swamiji, what about the books? And Prabhupada said, oh, the books. Oh, they're extra. And Brahmananda was like, but I gave you all my money. He said, that's all right. You can take the books. You can pay me later. So Brahmananda said that it took him a long time to pay them, right? Because, and he had some pinch in his heart. What he learned, he said, was that Guru, you have to surrender. You can't purchase the Guru. It took him a long time to pay the money, and it took him an even longer time to understand the lesson that Srila Prabhupada was trying to teach him. That Guru, you have to surrender. But how much did he owe? That's the point. So when Prabhupada was getting off the boat, he wanted to give Captain Pandey a gift. So he gave him the 3 volumes of the Bhagavatam. And the captain, very pious man, he said, no, I can't. I want to pay. I want to pay. So how much to pay? And Prabhupada had printed in the books for the 3 volumes, it cost 16 rupees and 80 paisa. 16 rupees and 80 paisa. So now this Captain Pandey wanted to pay. So how much to pay? So Prabhupada said, okay, you can pay $16.80. He turned the rupees into dollars. And Pandey said, here's $20, you can keep it. So that was the first book distribution in North America. And when Prabhupada got off the boat, besides his 40 rupees, he had $20. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So this is a very important verse of Bhagavatam. All these verses are so important. Prabhupada said, just by reading the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, you can become completely self-realized. Everything is there. And we see that this unique relationship that we all have, as Bhima also has, is available simply by following the process of devotional service, which begins by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam from the authorized person, Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Are there any questions or comments? How did I meet first time with Srila Prabhupada? Well, I had joined the temple at Janmashtami time, and at Gaur Purnima time, Prabhupada sent a letter before Gaur Purnima that as many devotees as possible should come to Mayapur. So I had an opportunity to go to Mayapur. I wasn't initiated. We came to 1974. We came to Calcutta. Devotees first. We went to New York, and in New York on Henry Street, they lived on Henry Street. Devotees from all over the country had come to New York, Henry Street, and it was very crowded. Very crowded. Temple room was crowded. Ashram was crowded. Devotees were sleeping on the stairs, you know? And they had one shower. And you could only be in the shower for 5 seconds. So as soon as you got in the shower, they were not, Prabhu, up, time up. So packed place on Henry Street. And then we took a flight, 747. They were new in those days to Delhi. We landed in Delhi because at that time the Calcutta airport couldn't handle the 747s. And so we spent one night in Delhi, and then we took a smaller plane to Calcutta, and we were in Albert Road. And from Albert Road, we took a bus, mile. And it was my first experience on Indian Road. So many trucks, and the truck and the bus were coming right at each other. And then last minute, and I was thinking, boy, this is a very different place. But when I got to Mayapur, that time in Mayapur, there was nothing, only fields. And that, what they call the Lotus building was under construction. Wasn't finished, mostly finished, but still there were no, some places there were floors, some places there was just cement. So I asked the devotees, where's Prabhupada? And they said he's in Denver. So I thought, okay, I'll go meet him. I went there, new devotee, still bhakta something. And I got outside Prabhupada's room, and then I could see inside there were some sannyasis with Prabhupada. And I thought, I'll offer my obeisances and go inside. So as I was offering my obeisances, these two devotees came out of another room, and one of them said, he's trying to go in Prabhupada's room. Quick, grab him. So then I realized that you can't just walk in Prabhupada's room. And then they told me that. So anyway, the next day, one other devotee and myself, both from the same temple in America, St. Louis, Missouri, we were outside the room of Prabhupada cleaning the floor. We were on our hands and knees. We had cloth. We were mopping up the floor. And just then, Prabhupada came out of his room. He was in his gamsha. The bathroom wasn't attached. Still. So he was going to the bathroom. And when he saw us on our hands and knees cleaning the floor, he became very happy. And he said, Hare Krishna, with a big smile. So I realized that it's not so important that you try to see the spiritual master, but you do service in such a way that automatically the spiritual master was seen. That was my first experience. Okay, thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki, Nitai Gaur Premanandi.
Hare Krishna. We are very fortunate to have the association of His Grace Bhima Prabhu. For those devotees who could not attend yesterday's class, one of the senior disciples of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Prabhuji, as he was telling that before Prabhupada departed from this world, Prabhuji came thrice to India and then later settled in Juhu temple and served in many capacities as a temple president. Then now Prabhuji is the trustee of the BBT also, all the books which we get. Yesterday Prabhuji was sharing about the printing and how different languages it gets printed in the Bombay, and there was a transcendental competition with Bhakti Purushottam Maharaj that Maharaj said that we'll try to distribute the books that the BBT cannot print, and the BBT said no, we'll print more, and somehow they could not beat the BBT in terms of the production and the this one. And Prabhuji also gives wonderful classes and inspires the devotees. Prabhuji stays in Juhu, and Prabhuji served in the ISKCON Bureau also for many years. Let us express our gratitude to His Grace Bhima Prabhu by chanting Hare Krishna mantra once. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Hare Krishna. We are very fortunate today to have one more disciple of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, His Grace Kaivalya Prabhu.
Haribo, Haribo.
Prabhuji is by profession doctor, and Prabhuji stayed a long time in Philadelphia and do the deity worship and many other services. And just yesterday, I had not seen Prabhuji, so when Radharaman Prabhu said, I just typed Prabhuji's name, and immediately the Philadelphia, one of the class of Prabhuji came. So we are very fortunate to have the association of His Grace Kaivalya Prabhu also today, together along with Bhima Prabhu. Let us welcome His Grace Kaivalya Prabhu also to ICC by chanting Hare Krishna mantra once. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare
Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you very much for giving me this great opportunity to. I will speak only 5-10 minutes because time is getting over for all the devotees to take breakfast prasadam. So Gita Jayanti is actually coming very soon in 6 days on 23rd December. So before Sri Prabhupada wrote the Bhagavad Gita, there were about 700 different editions, different translations of Bhagavad Gita, but none of them could make any devotee actually. But when Sri Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita came out, and we can see the result now, how many millions and millions books were distributed and how many devotees it made, So Sri Prabhupada wrote it so nice way, that's what is known as Bhagavad Gita as it is. So as it is means what Krishna actually wanted to say, Prabhupada presented very nicely, because Prabhupada was very pure soul, and that's what he could write it down. Other translations are not good. Many times, I just yesterday asked one of my relative on the phone that do you have Bhagavad Gita? Otherwise, I can send one. So he said, I have Chinmaya's Bhagavad Gita. So I told him, what is the difference, what Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita. And I said, don't worry, I will mail one to you and you'll get it and read this and see the effect, what happens. So Bhagavad Gita actually gives us all the things, what we need in our life. It shows, it gives the goal, what is the goal of our life, to somehow or the other develop the Krishna Prem and serve him. And that should be goal of everyone got the human body, because human body is very, very rare. It's not like we go through so many 8.4 million species, and then we get human birth, so it's very special birth actually, and we should take full use of this human birth. So Bhagavad Gita has so many many good shlokas actually, but like Prabhupada says that the good shlokas are like Sarvadharmam Parityajya Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja Aham Tam Sarvapapebhyo Mokshayasami Mahasacha. So it says that actually give up all kind of religions. So somebody may wonder why to give up the religion, that's the basis. Everybody says don't give up the religions. Prabhupada is saying here what kind of religion we have to give, like Prabhuji said that we have to give up all the Keto Dharma, like Pati Dharma, Patni Dharma, Desh Dharma, all these different kind of dharmas. And those dharmas are not important at all. We have to just give them up and just take the real dharma, which is the duty, our main duty to serve Krishna. Actually. And when we go to Golok Vrindavan also, we continue serving Krishna. It's not like our goal is done, now we need not to do anything, we continue. So many devotees think, even we stay here or go to Golok Vrindavan, do the same thing actually. It doesn't matter much for a devotee. Other shloka is like Vanmana Bhavama Bhakto Madhyajimam Namaskuru. So here, 4 things Krishna is saying that Vanmana, when all the time meditate on Krishna. So we have to meditate on Krishna. And meditation, we can continue even during our work or do anything like cooking. Matajis do the cooking, so they can meditate on Krishna each time. And then say, Manmana Bhavad Bhakta Madhyajim Vahumai, become my devotee. So we have to become the devotee of Krishna and Madhyajima. So worship me and Namaskuru. We have to offer obeisances. Like we see Sanatana Goswami, he was offering 2,000 obeisances every single day. Even he became old, still he continued that. And Krishna told him, not to do that. You are very old to do that. And he was doing parikrama every single day for so many times. And we cannot even do one time, we get so tired, we have to sleep 2 days after that. So actually that happened to me. My legs were so much hurting, after finishing parikrama. So you can imagine how Sanatana Goswami was doing that. And then Lord Krishna actually came in the dream and gave him the golden Shila. He said, just do the circumference of that Shila, and that will actually give you all the benefit. We can see how great, like we are known as Rupa Nugas, like we are followers of Rupa Nuga. And we can see Rupa Goswami, even Radharani came and he was meditating, he was chanting, she gave the shade of her own saris, And when Sanatana Goswami, Rupa Goswami wanted Sanatana Goswami to come to his home and wanted to make kheer, Radharani came herself in form of a little girl and she made so nice kheer. We can imagine how great Rupa Goswami was, and we can imagine that. So actually, what is blocking us from becoming a pure devotee and doing our bhakti? That thing is our own our mind. Actually, our mind takes us away from Krishna most of the time. And so we have to control our mind all the time. Whenever we chant, we know how the mind goes from one place to other place, other place to other place. We have to bring it down, and within 5-10 minutes, again the same thing happens, So we have to practice how to control the mind. The best way to practice is give actually mind should be controlled by our intelligence, and intelligence should be controlled by our soul. So this is the hierarchy. But what happens, mind also makes friendship with intelligence, and intelligence also allows it, do it. So that's why people go into so much in the sense gratification and all these things. So the best way to do that we give the lagam, the ropes of our mind to Krishna. Just pray Krishna that please take my manorath, the wrath of my mind, in your hand. And once we give that to Krishna, then Krishna will handle it very properly, and our mind will not go here and there. It will be focused that way. So we should pray all the time to Krishna to please take care of my mind. And then because Krishna all the time listens anything we pray, like to advance in spiritual life. He never says no. If you request something material, he may give, he may not give you, like a little child, sometime he wants cry for the knife, mother will never give knife because he may hurt himself. So similarly, Krishna knows what is best for us, but our spiritual request, he all the time checks and fulfills it. So we have to have full faith in Krishna and give our mind fully to Krishna. That way we can advance in our spiritual life. So I will end here. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, we are very grateful for Bhima Prabhu here, and he has actually a special mercy on me, especially because when we were building a Narasimha temple at that time, we got into a big problem within ISKCON itself. So finally the complaint went to him. He was the he was the general secretary of that. First time I was meeting him, I went there. I was like, five of us had gone, and he was supposed to be the person who is going to judge and decide whether Narasimha temple will go or not. At that time, I was asked to speak. First, our zonal secretary said, no, this project cannot go further. Then they asked me to speak. Then I explained that we have done so much. To go further, it will be difficult. And if that is the case, we will do it independently of ISKCON. But Prabhuji was there. Within one sentence, he said to the zonal secretary that you have allowed him to do so much, you could have stopped him earlier, and he left from there. So there itself, he decided, very magnanimous uh, Prabhuji is. And somehow we are lucky to have him here, and we should have him more and more. And BBT is running because of him. Books are his, everything. Even yesterday in his class, evening, he was telling that if you do evening program, new people will come, you can distribute books. So very grateful to Prabhu for his dedication and getting inspired. And today evening he's going to Narasimha temple also, and bless them also. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
The BBT has produced one app. There's so many apps that you have on your cell phone, but you may not have the Transcend app. And the Transcend app is a very unique app because it has all of Srila Prabhupada in two formats. We have the printed format, but nowadays, people, they live with their cell phones. And everything is in their cell phone. Previously, you had cameras, you had tape recorders, you had, a TV, but now everything is in the cell phone. So they put a lot of companies out of business. But anyway, the BBT developed this app so that you can hear all of Srila Prabhupada's books in audio, and you can also read because they're in the ebook format, digital ebooks. So we have both things, the audiobooks and the ebooks in one app, and it's available in 11 languages. It's also available in Kannada. And it's so important, like when you're driving, you can just put this app on and you can listen to the Krishna book. The other day I was working in the kitchen, and in that time that I was working in the kitchen, I could hear 3 chapters of the Krishna book. Right? So a lot of times we can't pull out time to read, but if you can put it on while you're doing something, and then you can hear Srila Prabhupada's books. So there's 11 languages. It's over 80,000 hours, 80,000 hours, 8,000 hours of audiobooks, and the digital books, the ebooks are there. So please, you can go to www.transcendstore.com and check out. You can download the sample, and then if you like, you can purchase. Sometimes the life members, they get a set when they become a member, but they bring it back because they say, Swamiji, nobody's reading this, and I don't have space in my house to keep these 18 volumes of books. So now you can give the life members another option. They can get the audiobooks and they can hear the books. And it's when you download a package, either Kannada, English, Hindi, Gujarati, Marathi, Tamil, Telugu, Bengali, Oriya, you can keep it on 2 devices. So it's a very economical and lifelong investment. And if you're interested, please check it out, www.transcend.com, transcendstore.com. Yeah, that's right. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Quick announcements. We have one sponsor today, Pravat Prabhu. We have Pravat Prabhuji. So Pravat Prabhuji has sponsored the Prasadam today and is seeking blessings in this August assembly. So let us all chant once Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. And we also have upcoming 23rd December, that's Gita Jayanti, Vaikuntha Ekadashi. So wonderful opportunity for book distribution and also Bhagavad Gita recitation. We will have the Gita Yajna and the recitation here. And at the same time, we'll also have Vaikuntha Ekadashi book distribution programs also all around. So please stay tuned and reach out to the respective, either reach out to me or the devotees here. So, I just came to know, Prabhuji mentioned that the prasadam, the wonderful prasadam that we get every Sunday, and you know who's behind the master chef behind then is Natpo Prabhu, and it is his birthday today. So let us all once chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra for the spiritual benefit of Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Let us all, whenever you meet Prabhuji, please ensure you wish him. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. There is a good news for all the devotees regarding the book distribution. So for the next upcoming 23rd is both the Vaikuntha Ekadashi as well as the Gita Jayanti. So on this occasion, the temple BBT is going to reduce the price of Kannada book. So it was 300 rupees. Kannada Bhagavad Gita book will be 250 rupees for the next 2 weeks. So the devotees can take advantage of this and try to distribute more and more books. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So we had sent one form regarding services. Some devotees wanted to render service in the temple at 1 hour a week or 2 hours a week, like that. So we had circulated one form and we have got very nice response. We have got about 46 devotees. Very well. 46 devotees have expressed their desire to serve either 1 day, 2 days, or many days. Some have volunteered for 1 hour, some have volunteered for 6 hours also, some even more. So that data we have got, and we are making a group called as Shri Radha Vinod Seva Sangha. Haribo. RV? Yes. Radha Vinoda Seva Sangha. So we have got all the details, and we have just also allocated the time slots as per what you had given us, and we have made a system also we'll put in place, and that will be led by His Grace Srinidhi Govinda Prabhu. Hari Go. So Srinidhi Govinda Prabhu is the point of contact for this RV. Yes. So this is for this Sangha is for devotees who want to render services at their free time. Like for example, so you are available, suppose Monday afternoon 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock, and you want to render some service. Okay, so you can contact Prabhuji and they will allocate you some service. Okay, maybe some cleaning of some area like Prabhupada altar, or some kitchen area, or some online database entry service is there, or some flower garland making service is there. So like that, for such coordinations, so Prabhuji will take care, and along with him there will be other tier department heads also. Respective department heads will be getting in touch with you for that services, and you can also get in touch with Srinidhi Govind Prabhu, and he will direct you to the concerned person for service, and temporarily providing all the facilities, say cleaning items or any infrastructure required for execution of these services. And this will be starting from tomorrow onwards. Very well. Thank you.
He came to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur to ask one important question from Vedanta. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was a bit busy. He said, devotees who are washing plates in the paraphernalia room, just go to them, they'll be able to answer your question. Then that Madan Mohan Malviya said, it's a very important question from the Vedanta. No, they will answer. Just go there to paraphernalia room, they will answer the question. And he went and asked the devotees who are cleaning the plates and all the puja items. And he said, why don't you come and help us so that, we can answer your question. So he also started washing plates and doing all those things. And after that, that Madan Mohan Malviya went to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur and he said, did you get the answer? And he said, without even asking a question, I got the answer. So service is very important, and particularly in the temple, because we have built so big temple for all of us, basically congregation, and we need more and more and more volunteers to come and do seva here, because a lot of seva. So please meet me if you are interested, and we will definitely give you whatever the opportunity is available, and most probably of your interest as well. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
We have a devotee who's seeking prayers. Aditya Prabhu, his wife is carrying, and there are some complications that have come. So devotees are requested to once chant Hare Krishna and pray for the well-being of both the parents. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We all will assemble down for Jagannath Ashtami. Hare Krishna.